I'm Lisa Phillips, owner and founder of Celebrate Us. Celebrate Us is an umbrella of sorts. There are three businesses that fall under Celebrate Us. My first business was Celebrate Us gift baskets, and then that expanded into Celebrate Us events and parties, and then Celebrate Us workforce training is the third kind of arm of the business. I got started in business back in 2011, and gift baskets was my first business. And the gift baskets is interesting, was actually part of therapy. I really, back in 2008, I found myself in a wilderness, unemployed, homeless, in a lot of despair, and so I wanted to make a change, but I understood that just signing up for school would not give me a good outcome if I didn't get answers to the behavior that led to me to be in this somewhat wilderness. So I went to counseling, and we did some wonderful work in counseling. And one of the things that was discovered in counseling is that I had never been celebrated, and which is true. And because I had never been celebrated in my life, I tend to overcompensate, which leads to, bad decisions, poor judgment. And so the way gift baskets kind of got involved into it, I had a wonderful counselor that gave homework, and my homework was to come up with a hobby that celebrated, a hobby that I see myself that is in pieces, so to speak. And then at the end of it, I see beauty, because I discovered in counseling that I was broken. And when you're broken, you have a tendency to just get fixated on your brokenness instead of getting, looking or being forward thinking to go from a place of brokenness to a place of beauty. And so I tried cooking, I tried, sewing. I tried to find something that would start off in pieces and would end up beautiful. And one day, one of my coworkers, she brought in a gift basket, and it was beautiful. And I asked if she would show me how to make it. And she showed me, and I was doing such good work in counseling that I enrolled in school, and I had to do a marketing project. And I decided to use my one of my gift baskets, because the project was that you had to create a fictitious business that you could build it, and it could be fictitious, but it had the potential to become a real business. And so I used the gift basket, and I made a Baltimore Ravens basket. And unbeknownst to me, there were 4 football players in my class, which I had no idea. And my professor came to me, and she said, "You need to speed your presentation up because you have some orders." And I said, "Orders for what?" And she said, "You have orders for gift baskets." I said, "I don't do this as a business." And she said, "I think you do now." And that's how the gift basket business kind of got started. And it really had just like any business, it had its ebbs and its flows. And one of the things I had to do, because you can create something, but to be able to create it to where it's at a point where you can sell it, that's kind of, that's a different animal, if you will. And so I needed to find someone that could mentor me and could help me learn how to monetize the gift basket business. And so there really wasn't anyone local that did gift baskets except one florist, a florist that had been around for 30 years. And that florist, the general manager, she mentored me. And it was really wonderful because I was very early in business school. I was doing my prerequisites, so I hadn't learned a lot of business principles yet. So I didn't know a lot about business. And so her florist gave me my first business line of credit. I got a $300 line of credit, and it was wonderful because, you know, and she gave me a flat rate, and she felt that it would be good for business if the florist made my baskets while I learned how to, perfect my craft. And it was really wonderful. And so there was a local anchor that was newly married and expecting a baby. And so I sent her a complimentary basket to congratulate her. She had announced that she had a girl. And so I sent her a girl gift basket, and it was wonderful. She posted it on the station's Facebook page. And, I got about $900 worth of orders, which was just wonderful. And after that, I got a call from a producer from a local television station that, saw the baskets and said, hey, would you like to come on and do a demonstration? Well, that led to me affectionately being known as the gift basket lady. And I would go on and do gift basket demonstrations. And I ended up on TV about 9 or 10 times to, do gift baskets. And it was really wonderful. The plateau of my gift baskets was they were in the Towson University bookstore, which was amazing. And so, but I realized that when I would do my deliveries, that I was always delivering to events. And so by this time I was in business school, and business school teaches you how to expand your business by always looking for opportunities. And so one day I did a delivery to a baby shower, and I said, I think I can do this. And so, I threw caution in the wind, and I started doing parties and events, and it was really quite an experience. I didn't last in that industry because unfortunately I got sick, and that work is kind of laborious, but nonetheless, I was very successful in like a 2-year span. I'm sorry, 3-year span. I facilitated 256 events, which was a lot in just a short period of time. And so at the time I graduated from undergrad and got accepted into a wonderful dual MBA program with the University of Baltimore and Towson University. And there was an initiative to start social impacting businesses. And so I started my own social impacting business with workforce training. And the reason I chose workforce is because workforce training is something that actually saved my life. When I lost custody of my kids, and I was just in this very dark place in my life, I was mandated to participate in a welfare to work program. And in that program, I did a medical billing and coding training. And it changed my life. First of all, it was the first time I completed anything in my life. And so it was my first quote unquote good job, where I saw the needle move in my family's life, where I saw where I could afford things. And it was such a wonderful experience. So fast forward to this project, I decided to make my social impact business a workforce training business. And I left medical billing and coding to kind of get prepared for what I'm experiencing now. And I started working in workforce first, so I could learn like a lot of the systems and processes. And I loved it even more once I started working in it. And then I proceeded with my MBA program to start this business. And it was a wonderful program because the school provided you with the support that you needed. And so, classroom space and, access to the library and the computer lab. And that was really a wonderful learning ground for what I was trying to do. And so I graduated in 2018. And when I graduated, I got my first big contract. I got a large state contract. So I knew that it could be successful. And, but the real joy in it was that you hear someone say, Miss Lisa, I got the job, and it never gets old. It never gets tired. And so, even armed with, a dual MBA and a bachelor's in business, you're still going to have hiccups in business. And so I had a couple of hiccups with my workforce training program. But I always tell my students that even if something is a negative event, it doesn't necessarily have to have negative consequences. And so I had a negative event that drove me to another state. I went to Pennsylvania because I had some problems in Maryland with facilitating my trainings. And so I went to Pennsylvania. I took my talents on the road. And surprisingly, I got a wonderful contract in Pennsylvania to do hospitality training. Pennsylvania is a mecca for amusement parks and hotels. And so the hospitality curriculum that I, wrote, it was well received. And so it really made me feel like, hey, I'm onto something. And so, I was just kind of trucking along. And along the way, I came back to Maryland and I got a federal prison contract that was just outstanding. It was outstanding. I co-partnered with Volunteers of America. They have a federal prison program and a halfway house, and I got to meet some amazing people. And that opportunity led to me having the opportunity to do training in Delaware. And so by the end of 2019, I was kind of moving along in my business and doing well. And then COVID happened. And so COVID, like for a lot of businesses, COVID was a gut punch. And I never forget, I was at Penn Station about to board a train to Delaware to go teach. And I got a call from the agency that commissioned me, and they said, our state is closed down. You can't come. And so, I said, okay. And I called my son to pick me up. And while I sat there waiting for my son to pick me up, in a matter of less than an hour, I lost all 4 of my contracts in one day because, the states shut down. There was a shelter in place order. And so it was certainly, shocking and dismal. And it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And so, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. And so it's not like I had leave or pay or, I had nothing. And so, but when you find the key to something like that is to, not give it power. And what I mean by that is, yes, it was devastating. Yes, it was brutal, but in order for you to start your recovery, if you will, you have to make sure that you kind of, as my grandmother used to say, you got to keep your wits about yourself. Don't panic and don't flip out. This is the time where you have to really calmly think things through. And so that morning I woke up, I had 4 wonderful contracts. And by the time I got home that afternoon, I had none. So in a matter of, like I said, half of a day, I lost all of my income. And so it was quite devastating. And so while I definitely understand you don't have to go to business school to have a successful business, absolutely not. But there were certain things that I learned in business school that I leaned on. And one of the things I learned in business school is to always have, don't provide or push out everything that you offer. Wait until the time is appropriate. And I learned that in business school. And that was very helpful to me because by the time COVID happened, everyone was sheltering in place, that really almost became like a wonderful opportunity for me to pivot. And so my pivot was, up until then, all of my trainings were free. And then so I wanted to implement charging an enrollment fee. And so initially the enrollment fee was very modest, like $75 was the enrollment fee. And so, but the good thing is that the way my program was built, you certainly got way more than what you paid for. And so, but that kind of pivot, I was really happy that up until then, I had never did that, but I built enough value in what I do to make sure that, to make sure that I had generated a way to live and take care of my family. And so I knew before I implemented pricing, I had to add additional value. So what I did was I researched the employers that were really difficult to kind of navigate through the employment process. And so I partnered with a couple of those employers, and they became like my selling point, because if I knew that those companies were hard to get a job at, so did the general public. And so just having that attached to my brand really helped, to kind of keep me on board, keep me above water, keep my brand going. And then suddenly it went from me just holding on to dear life for then there being a floodgate of opportunities, because one of the things that I understand about workforce training, that this country is wonderful because this country takes care of its workers. And so by May or June, I believe, the market and the marketplace was just flooded and saturated with workforce funding. So if you were a workforce, enthusiast, or someone that, you were interested in doing workforce, this was a great time, because not only are you doing something very rewarding, you are really helping at like a time of need. This is definitely a time of need. And so what I would say to someone who's struggling through COVID, always think about your business in verticals, meaning don't ever be one-dimensional. The advantage that I had was that I was not a one-dimensional business. And so when there are different levels of dimension to your business, that also creates opportunity. And so, what I would say to anyone who's struggling through COVID is to always see the positive in anything, even when things are just going their worst. Because I had to really, like I said, I lost, 4 contracts were just wiped away almost instantly with COVID. And there was an understanding that, I got to come out of this. I got to overcome this. And, and so now I'm back, I would say 85%, because I'm back doing programming in Delaware, Maryland, and I'll start a cohort soon in Pennsylvania around maybe the end of February. And so I have one of the most rewarding businesses, because like I said, I get to help. I wake up every morning and, whether I'm enrolling somebody in my program or I'm helping somebody transition out of my program into training, whether I'm helping someone get set up for an interview, it's just a very rewarding career. And so I encourage you to not look at your business as one dimensional. Find opportunities, find verticals, find a window within your business to climb through, and you'll be okay. Lisa Phillips from Celebrate Us Workforce Training. I can be reached at Instagram at Celebrate Us, Facebook, Lisa Phillips, and on LinkedIn, it's Lisa Phillips.